Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Six Figure Developer Channel. This is Live Coding Wednesday, and we have a special guest with us tonight. Mr. Joe Zach from Coding Blocks is going to tell us all about K9s.
Like dogs?
They never ask.
Yeah, his dogs were in the background, or a dog was in the background earlier, so maybe we'll see some more dogs throughout the night. On Wednesdays, we do the live coding sessions, working on one of many personal projects. Clayton has a Blazor game engine project, which is a port of Monogame in Blazor. Also has a Blazor CMS project, a headless CMS written in Blazor. Ash is working on a workout, weight training, lifting, scheduled tracking system in React.
Yep.
And this week we're focusing on Speaker Meet, a website for speakers, technology speakers, conferences, and user groups. The UI is in React and the API is in .NET 5. All of it is running in Azure with all of the latest and greatest bits in Azure, including cognitive search, so we can spell everything wrong and still get back useful information.
Woohoo.
Using blob storage and static sites for image hosting, SQL database, all the fun stuff. We had a guest on a while ago that helped us convert everything locally to Kubernetes. So right now I've got, so this is the main site with actual speakers and conferences and communities in it. We also have the Kubernetes local version, which just has a sample speaker, a sample community, and a sample conference, all running in Kubernetes in all of these pods, services, and deployments. But Joe has been talking up K9s on the Coding Blocks podcast. So he's going to tell us what K9s is, why we should care, and what we can do with it.
All right, yeah, K9s is a command line interface GUI. So
Perfect.
yeah, so if you're not already sold, I don't know what to tell you. But it's really easy to use. If you're familiar with VI, I'm sorry. I know
It's really easy to use if you're familiar with VI. I don't know that those things don't exactly make sense.
Yeah, you know, it's you've had a hard life if that's been the main way you write code. I'm sorry.
I got to say, you're not selling it so far.
But don't worry, I had to get the bad out of the way. There's really only two things from VI that come into play here. And one is the slash. So you type a slash and that lets you filter. And the other is the colon, which in VI you do like a colon and something to do a command. Done. Wasn't so bad, right?
That's the whole GUI.
That's the whole GUI.
Yep. Keyboard GUI.
It takes a little while to kind of build that muscle memory, so it feels a little awkward. But if you are tired of building that kubectl typing muscle memory, then have I got the tool for you? So yeah, I think you installed it, right?
I didn't. So I pulled up. So in we do have the Kubernetes dashboard that I installed locally in another container and played around with it a little bit just to familiarize myself with it somewhat. There's still so much to even learn and look at there. But I pulled up the K9s website.
Yep.
So this is the K9s website. It is K9scli.io.
Yeah.
And you said like download or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get it via chocolatey. What's the other one? Scoop on Windows.
I don't think
I'm sure there's a releases link somewhere on this page. You can just straight up download it.
Just brew install.
Brew install would do it.
See.
There we go. That should do it. It should be, I think there's like a releases page or something. I think that's what the cool kids are doing now.
Yeah. Sounds behind the releases easy top. My head's in Mississippi.
Huh?
It's got style for sure.
I don't know. I'm so confused. Okay.
Don't you want to know what this entails?
Is that a pun?
Yeah, it's a pun. Yeah, we're just getting started. But somewhere in here there should be a download link, I think.
Download the binary. I would, but
Yeah, it's kind of.
You click on the 024.
this is going well. I like it.
Is it not initiating a download? Or is it just refreshing the page?
Yeah, it's just refreshing the page.
Right.
Well.
So I'm looking.
I think it's all the words that's making it difficult. Because I've done releases from GitHub before, and it's just you just click a link and then download.
Yeah.
Is it at the bottom of the release?
I think I did chocolatey, but I'm also looking over here.
Keep going. There it
If
is.
we have to do this, oh, there we go.
There's the.
Wait,
Hopefully you got a tar ball.
Oh no, is it really?
Yes, of Windows. For the
Oh
Windows.
man, I'm
Come
so sorry.
on.
All right, I'll make it up to you. Don't worry. It'll be worth it.
Well, I'd like
Hope
to
you,
thank our guest for coming on the show.
Yeah.
We could have put it in a physics file, but since it's a command line GUI, we figured tarball.
Yeah. Well, we're about to find out if you paid for WinZip.
And no, he's using 7-zip.
7-zip. 7-zip
Yeah,
should work.
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It is. I'll be honest. A rant of mine. Like I really love Linux, and I love the repos, and I love being able to have things, but that's not Windows idiomatic stuff, and it really bothers me when open source tools don't follow that OS's idiomatic release and installation process. That's why I hate chocolatey. My experience is that like so many things get on there and then they don't get maintained well, and it's all kind of a crapshoot, and yeah, I don't know, it just bugs the snot out of me. So
there's an
Coming up,
EXE.
we're interviewing the creator of China.
So I've got an exe in here. You want me to just willy-nilly double click on that sucker and just install? Hope for the best.
Heck yeah! Install what?
This is a command line tool. You need
Just
to
run it
open
from
command,
there.
Run it from there. Oh well.
But you said it was a
La-di-da.
GUI.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a. This is like perfect for my.
This is like DOS shell back in the day.
Yeah.
All right,
So we got
here
some
we go.
ASCII art, and you might want to make this a
Compiling.
little bit bigger because there's a couple of commands that show. So you got a couple basically shortcuts that show up the top, and there's no control. Like if it says A, it means you push the letter A.
Yeah, control scroll.
Yep.
Can we
All right,
can we
and
font
chat.
larger?
Chat if you have suggestions, questions. Oh, why would you resize the window on me?
So
Really?
short of the install process, I'm already sold.
All right.
All right.
So,
how's that? Are we? Is that better? Is that chat? How are we looking? Hudson loves the 7-zip. Freaking Ward loves the brew. Yeah, but he's on a Mac, so we don't.
That's awesome. You ever type kubectl get pods?
Usually I Google how to do that. I copy and paste that command and paste it into a window. Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yes.
All right. Well, you're seeing something similar to that right now. It gives you a little bit more information. So you see like the restarts, the age on there is nice. But this is just where it defaults.
See, this is the same I got with this.
Yep.
Ta-da.
So same thing there. That's your pods. Now, if you wanted to go look at your services, you would type kubectl get services, right?
If you
Or
say so.
SVC if you're in the know, or if you haven't set up your own custom aliases.
Kubectl get services, actually.
Yep, kubectl. What did I say? K?
Oh no, I was correcting John, but then I realized I needed to just shut up.
So before I discovered K9s, I had aliased kubectl to K. So sometimes I will say K get service just out of habit.
That's even better than
You should have
aliasing
aliased
it
the
to
other
a
two.
misspelled.
You could have
Yeah, we could have
KGS.
just done that today and been done. That'll save you some RSI.
So alias cube cuddle to K9s and be done. Is that right? Is that what we're doing?
I would love that. There's only, I think there's two things that I figured out you can't do in K9s that are kind of common tasks, and I kind of doubt we're gonna hit them. So I kind of want to like leave them there for landmines for you for later.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
I have we showed it before we went on air. I'm not going to show it, but there I do have a notepad document with the 37 steps it took to get to this point. So I can rebuild it if we need to blow it away and start over.
Yeah.
All right.
This has only been up for 25 hours because I did it last night.
Format C.
We can kill it. No, well, it's on. Well, yeah, it is on C. All right. So Alt
right.
F4, right?
that will stop it. But a couple of things before that. So top left corner, you're only working with Docker Desktop so far. Basically, a single cluster. But if you're swapping around between multiple clusters, this is so huge. Like at work, I probably have like 4 or 5 different contexts I work with, and then multiple namespaces. It can be so confusing sometimes, and I'll end up with multiple windows open. I kind of forget where I am sometimes, so then I have to type like kubectl config get contexts and see which one has the little star next to it.
And I have to use like PowerShell for one of my contexts, and then I have like WSL running for another context because I'm like bouncing between the two of them, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, I set different themes now to help me.
That's brilliant.
So one thing that's super awesome is typically, so if you're doing stuff with kubectl, like you would probably set a context and stay there for a while, right? You like kubectl use context,
Sure.
kubectl config, and that swaps it over, like
I've tried it once. Yeah.
So the problem is that it's basically kind of swaps your whole computer over. So by default, like your whole computer just swapped. So if you've got 2 windows open, you change your context, you changed it for both, whether you realize it or not. Now you can pass, a argument to every command that you type so that you don't have to worry about that. But by default, those context names are pretty ugly. Like Docker-desktop is the prettiest one you'll see.
You just put period at the end of it because your context is here, right?
That's right. So just seeing context up there is really huge, and the cluster is really nice. You see the word default in pink there next to pods. So that's your namespace. If you want to hit 0, we could see everything across all namespaces.
Oh,
Which is really nice, especially if you like operators or anything kind of funky going on. It's also cool just to see the Kubernetes stuff, I think. So I like it. If you hit 1, you go back to default. And you see where I'm seeing that up the top middle? It kind of shows basically the last couple of namespaces that you've been in. It will kind of set them as like shortcuts for you.
how many shortcuts does it create there for you?
I think it goes up to 5.
5? Okay.
Yep. You can set favorites too, but I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
It's like you can kind of bookmark things.
And Safely Curious, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Chat, if anybody has any questions, we're just playing around, and Joe's slowly teaching us and showing his patience. So appreciate it.
It's so good. I should say I have no affiliation with K9s. I just really like it. It's the best. It makes me happy just to see. I'm just thinking about things I'm not typing.
The command line GUI.
Which I'm not one of those people, like I'll use plugins for Git, I don't care. I use Windows, I'll right click all day. But this works out really well. So it's command line, right? So, it works fine. There's other tools if you ever use like Mirantis's Lens. It's an IDE for Kubernetes that's similar, but it's a UI. The problem with that is you can't install that on another server. Like I can install K9s on like a Bastion box. So if I'm like shelling into a remote cluster or something, then I can have this UI there for me and it'll run just on the terminal.
By install, you mean drag that exe to that machine, that folder.
Well, no, he'd have to
Windows.
Run whatever the package manager for that thing is.
Yep, so apt-get or whatever, snap install, APK. It's available in all of those. I think, I may be lying about apt-get. I'm not sure it's there. I remember doing something weird, but it's you would download the executable and drop it in the bin folder. And it's available. So we saw pods. Now I mentioned that there are 2 things that you just kind of need to learn to love. One is slash. Notepad, old school.
Yeah. Need to love. Slash the guitarist. I do.
Yeah, and it's front slash. So
John,
he's facing you.
You couldn't even plus that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
cool.
backslash.
That's backslash. That's a forward slash. So front's facing you. Slash
I don't
facing
even know.
you.
Do I do? I do. Okay, fine. Well, I've got stuff in there.
I was like, what kind of stream do you have me on? Notepad.
Okay,
so we love the slash.
And the other one was colon.
Yeah. Hudson also loves Notepad++. So he likes 7-zip and Notepad++.
That's where he keeps all his notes. It's in 7-zip from Notepad++.
All right. So if you go back to that screen and try typing slash, a forward slash. Yep. Now you're filtering. So if you start typing, I don't know, API or something, speaker net, now you're filtered. And you actually have to hit enter. Like you're not able to kind of go up and down with your arrows until you actually do that filtering. But you don't have to just filter on the name. You can filter on IP address, or I think you can filter on things that aren't shown on the screen, like labels. I'm not 100% sure on that yet.
Ooh.
It's probably just doing a grep on that output line, right?
I think it does it on a few fields that aren't shown. I'm not sure exactly if it describes it or what it does, but actually you reminded me though. So this
let's do
polls,
this, and then we can.
Yeah.
Slash.
I don't know I don't know what to look for.
Running or crash loop back office one. So like I'll hop into an environment that has maybe thousands of pods running, and I'll just filter for crash, just to, because someone told me there's a problem, or pending. It would be another thing that I would kind of look for.
Yeah, this is
Or
brilliant.
try 25.
So I mean, you could kubectl get pods and grep it, or select
Yeah, so
string dash pattern.
It's not doing
Why
it
did
on
Cube
age, but
System-
it might be doing it on.
Why is 20? So there's something here that hit 25 that is hidden, like you said, Joe. That it's maybe searching for something else.
Yeah, and I need to look up what that is. I haven't figured out, but there's been a couple times when I searched something and wasn't able to figure out why. But it would be something that like I recognize, like a label or something.
Okay.
So that is the one thing that it just doesn't really show you very well, the UI. The other is colon. Try typing colon. All right. So now here is how you switch to different resource types. So if you start typing service, you get a little bit of code complete there. Yep. So if you hit that, now you're looking at your services, and it's been polling in the background. That's why it's so fast. It's not really noticeable so much on local, but when you're working like in a remote environment, it's definitely noticeable that it's been caching it back.
Agreed.
So
I've even
that
seen
right there is killer.
So
yeah,
you
I've
would
even
put-
seen it be pretty slow on the local, and this seems pretty responsive. So
Yeah,
wondered
and I
about
mean
that.
it's doing work, so no doubt about whatever context you're hooked up to, it's doing work in the background. It doesn't pull all the namespaces, I don't believe. I'm not quite sure if it does just your favorites or just the one you're in now. I haven't figured that out. It's open source though. I can go look.
So if you've got K9s running locally, can you connect to your nodes up in Linode, or your pods up in Linode, or your whatever, or would you log into your Linode server and put K9s up there and then run?
So I do it from here. There's a colon for that. If you do colon and then start typing the word context, or a short version CTX, that will show you all the context in your kubectl config file. So earlier I asked you if you had any dirty named context set up for some reason. I don't know, but that would have showed. So right now you've only got information, but here's where you would kind of arrow down and say, click, whatever, Azure or GKE or whatever. Or if you just have multiple, if you have like Minikube running in Docker Desktop, like you can swap between the two there. So, I mentioned a couple commands, but that relies on you knowing that Kubernetes has services and contexts and pods, right? It doesn't help you discover that. So in some ways I would say that this is not a great first tool. But there is a Control A that will show you all the puzzle resource types. It's quite a bit. And there's a lot of things in here I'm like, hey, wait, what the heck is benchmarks? Like, I've never heard about Kubernetes benchmarks. Let me go look into that, or component statuses, or whatever.
We're viewing them.
Heck yeah.
That's helpful. I appreciate that.
I don't know what to make of that one.
And now we're stuck.
Question mark.
All right. Hey, I guess you don't have any benchmarks. Maybe. I don't know.
He didn't know what they were, so of course not.
Yeah. So I'll show you a good one though. Try Popeye, Popeye.
No, we're still in benchmarks.
Yeah, it seems to be stuck there.
Okay.
But Popeye is essentially a linter for Kubernetes, and so it's going out and going through each of these items, and it's running a linter using some open source tools that it's just kind of wraps for you. It looks like it's made it through the services. I don't think it's done yet. I don't know why some are blue and green. Maybe it is done, and those are the ones that were less than 100. Okay.
Yeah, warnings. You fail.
But did not like our services. Oh, and our ingress and pods are.
Yeah. So if you hit enter, you can drill in. Oh, there you go. Only one associated endpoint. Oof. Tisk. I don't know. You should have like little emojis showing up. I don't know what the questions marks are. It's unfortunate.
Do you mean it?
We'll use the target port.
Okay.
I think you might be able to drill in again to see what that is. Your stuff is too good though. There's not really anything too interesting. This will let you know about. Okay, took you to it. It'll let you know if you have like resources that like don't have a limit or request or limit, stuff like that, which is really nice. So we ran this work and we're like, oh hey, we got some tickets to cut. So we went and looked at those.
Hey. There's some stuff.
Yeah. Pod might be running as root user. Some security stuff there. Unnamed port. That's just a convenience thing. It's nice. It looks like maybe the darker blue things are kind of like less severity.
There's no reds. You're fine.
Yeah, that's good. So that's Popeye, and looks like what you're looking at now. It's see at the top it says sanitizer. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not clear if that's like a separate tool that it kind of drills you into, or maybe Popeye has some relationship to it wraps sanitizer. I don't know what that is.
I just updated that. I thought.
No.
John, you need a terminal that supports Unicode.
It's just running in command.
Hey, so how are you guys getting to the website when you work on it?
It just pops up.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's the ingress. I don't know. I honestly don't know how that works.
That's we are not yet really utilizing Kubernetes. So we had a guest on that helped us Kuberneteseify all the things. So just running locally, it is just running the .NET 5 API in Kestrel, and then switching over to the UI in React, running the Node app here. And then,
okay, so that local host, that's not actually running in Kubernetes that we saw?
Well, yeah, it is, yes, but that's not yet.
We had a single build basically of the app that we did locally, and then we just launched that into Kubernetes.
Yeah. For development, since we're not yet to that full understanding of how we could utilize it a little bit better, it's just go over here.
Yeah.
F5.
You had Docker Compose, right, John?
Yeah. But that again was just another convenience thing. I usually just straight up F5 it and run.
Mm-hmm.
Or more accurately, I've got in crunch and I unit to TDD it, and then we go from there.
Oh, very nice. I don't think you can't beat that on in terms of time. There's a tool that I'm aware of that will take care of all the annoying things. All the reasons you're not doing this in Kubernetes, like every change you make, you'd have to go build your container, and then you'd have to make sure it had a unique tag. Then you'd have
Run
to-
the 37 steps to redeploy it and
exactly. It's really tedious and-
reapply the K8s YAML.
Yep. And there's a tool out there that will set up a watcher. And so it'll watch files, it will rebuild and refresh in the background. It's not great for working. Like if you just want to like do some coding and go over there, it's going to take like 15 seconds. It is great for fast changes if you've got like 10 services and like, oh, let me just go make some config change to a SQL server. And then that'll be up and ready in 15 seconds and I can try it for my app.
What's the tool, Joe?
Scaffold.dev. It's with a K though, because, Kubernetes. Scaffold.dev. It's so good. Now, this is an open source tool from Google.
And you
It's
said
kind of
scaffold,
hidden.
and you said that we're playing a drinking game every time you say scaffold.
Oh.
Yep. So cheers. I love it.
Yeah,
so it takes care
scaffold.
of that stuff for you.
So it's going to download another terrible chocolatey chip family-friendly show.
At least that one's an
Latest.
executable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they gave you at least the download link, right?
It's really nice. Oh, we don't have to go there. I'm trying not to mention.
No, too late now. We're doing it.
Yes. It's so good.
I want to make
but-
sure that Outlaw's watching and he's like having an aneurysm right now.
Well, he fights me on K9s, so yeah.
See, Windows protected
Aw.
your PC. Are you sure you want to run this?
More info.
Yeah.
You got to
It's
get more
Google.
info and
Joe
then
said.
do it.
Joe said run anyway.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Oh, I need to run it.
What
Joe
is
said
that?
it's
What
from-
is it?
It's a command.
Oh, yeah. It's so
Jeez.
good.
What the K9s reminds me of is like back when I used like where I used Arch Linux and I had like a tiling window manager and then I was like,
Yes,
using like
yes.
command line GUI browser like e-links or whatever to
Yeah,
like
just making your life
browse
hard
the
for no
internet.
reason.
Exactly. Well, I thought I was cool. Whatever.
Now you
And
got
now-
kids to
yeah.
tell you that you're not.
That's way
Well,
cool.
right
man.
now
That's
they
way
think
cool.
I am cool because they're only like 8 and
That'll
they don't
change.
know any better.
Yeah.
But
My 8-year-old told me I'm not.
well, I keep my 8 more,
They're
Yeah,
they're
check.
Amish,
Locked
so
under
they
a-
haven't been exposed to the world.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You've got one of them over in the corner cranking the generator right now for you.
It's like you guys all better stay on the treadmills before we get
Yeah.
to this podcast.
That's awesome. So scaffold, since you twisted my arm on it.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with scaffold so far.
What scaffold will do is let you define your architecture in a single file or multiple. We'll call it a single file, and then you run a command like scaffold run or scaffold dev or scaffold debug, which will hook up to debugger, works with .NET, and it will fire up and it will watch your files if you want it to. It will take care of port forwarding, which is how I tricked this down this path. I was going to ask you how you handle the port forwarding. And it'll just run that stuff for you with a single command, and it watches for changes. So if you need to make a little tweak, it's really good. I think it's an awesome way to work. So
Yeah, how we handle the port forwarding. So I build this one first, the API, and apply the K8s YAML. Wait for the pod to come up, and then get the IP address.
Okay.
Plug it in. It's very manual right now. We were going to have a follow up. So we haven't. And then in the env file, plug in that IP address for
Okay.
API, and then run.
Well,
that.
so scaffold will help you with that. K9s will also help you with that. So I can show you that very easily. So you can go take a look at your service or your pods, whatever you're comfortable with. Tell you what, go to service. If you colon like SVC or colon service. So one thing that's pretty cool here is it shows you all your services. So you've got your UI there. So you can actually go down and drill into a pod there.
Hold on, Clayton kicked off the drop game again. I gotta drop.
What we gotta do? Drop.
Just bang, bang, drop.
Bang drop.
And Chad, if you're with us, just chime in if you got any questions or.
Ha ha, Ward.
All right, we're distracted. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, we're
Oh, that's
on
awesome.
the services page
this-
thingy.
Well, now I want you guys to show me how you do all this stuff in Twitch.
That part's
this
pretty
is-
easy.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming when it works. When it works, it's easy.
When it works, it's
Yeah,
easy.
it's Kubernetes.
It's way easier than Kubernetes.
Clayton understands that.
That's awesome. All right. Well, so over here, so yeah, so that whole thing with the host file and the IP, all that stuff, that stinks. That's not fun. And if you have a lot of services, like that's really big pain in the butt. You've got a couple databases or whatever, like oh man, forget about it. If you go down to like
Hold on.
UI.
Wait. Hold on. Wait.
You lost him.
Yeah.
Wait, where did the notepad go?
When you said Kubernetes the way you said it, this is what I always think of.
Yep. Oh, it's so fun though, right? Don't I feel like an architect?
It's intriguing. Clayton just doesn't have time for any of it,
I don't.
which
I
is why
don't see
Hudson's
the-
in chat because he knows that he's gonna have to
Well,
pick up the slack.
Hudsy's avoiding it too. I have yet to see the benefit from a developer standpoint. There are huge benefits to me for using Docker Compose. I have not seen any benefits above and beyond that which I get with Docker Compose, and certainly not as easy as I get with Docker Compose. If somebody showed me the light, then I would go learn Kubernetes. But right now, I'm just confused.
Oh man, I think Scaffold and K9s together are about as close to the light as you can get right now.
Is that
I am
easier than
HL.
Docker Compose?
I would say it is equivalent to Docker Compose. There are some upsides and some downsides. There's some trade-offs, and that's why I'm arguing that that's a lateral trade.
Yeah, Ward, it may be cool, and that's fine, but they don't often pay us for cool. They pay
Yeah.
us for business value.
That's true. But as long as they're paying us,
I mean, the check cleared. I'll $20 is $20.
yeah, I'm all about sneaking in that cool.
Cool's only worth so many headaches for me.
That's fair enough.
He's
fair
he's
enough.
been bit by cool
And
enough.
I've learned assembly for the purpose of making my own operating system for fun.
All right.
You're also trying to build your own car from scratch, including doing whatever it is you're supposed to do with an engine.
Yeah. And I'm
Forge-
not interested in learning Kubernetes. What's that tell you?
Okay, Joe had us look up
All right.
services. We are at the services now.
The services, yeah. So up top, you see kind of in the middle there, there's a bunch of shortcuts like describe or edit, stuff like that.
I do. I see. Yes.
So the one I'm particularly interested in right now is kind of off screen. It's Shift F. It says port forward.
Yeah. Port ...
So
yeah.
you got a name port here, so you know what you're hooking up. So you can change that if you want to. If you already got something running on 80, you could change that to something, and instead of doing your whole notepad thingamajig, you can just do it here.
But I like Notepad.
Or not, I didn't mean to say notepad. Notepad plus is great. I meant to say host file, IP shenanigans. So if you change, if you don't have anything running on 80, you can just hit enter, or you could change that middle one if you wanted.
I realize I'm being kind of negative towards Kubernetes. I'm not giving it a fair shake. I do actually like this tool though. It definitely reminds me
Pretty nice.
of back in the day with DOS Shell and stuff. And I like DOS Shell.
Heck yeah.
Okay,
So now,
so
you should go
now
to
is-
localhost 80.
Oh wait, no wait, I don't. No, I don't. Oh crap.
Oh, broke everything.
Shift F. I don't want because that. Let's do like 8080 for that.
So that's the one
No, that's
on.
no, yeah.
Wait, so actually it's the UI that I want running on 80.
Oh no.
Sorry, we could delete them.
Delete. No, it didn't do it. Describe. No. Control
No,
D.
it's
Yeah,
What is it?
Control D
Control
is
D?
delete.
Yeah, you don't want to delete that.
Do
I
it.
think
Oh, come
it's.
on.
I know. So we're looking at a service, and a service you can kind of think of as like being at least this kind of service. It's being like kind of like a load balancer. you don't really have a load balancer here, so like Kubernetes is kind of faking one. And what that means is that it actually went and port forwarded to a particular node behind the scene, or sorry, a particular pod behind the scenes, and it kind of hid that from you. But what that means is you need to drill into this service, and it's going to take you. Oh, it's a node port. That's weird.
Yeah, it's a node port.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I assumed it was the other kind. The node ports. I was assuming it was cluster IP.
Cluster IP. Yeah.
God, you broke it.
No, it's all good. Don't worry. Don't worry. So if you drill in with enter, and you can kind of see where you are, like down below, you see it says like service, and then it shows now you're on the pod screen, and you see that missing emoji Unicode character. So that just shows you that you got a port forward running, and there should be a letter. I think it's show port forward up top.
Yep,
F. Yeah, and you can just delete that with Control D. Now you're unport forwarded.
It's so much easier.
And John, John, you're familiar with port forwarding. If you have to port forward a couple services, if you do this a lot, they really want to like run and take over your whole window. So that's how you end up with like 7 windows. And every once in a while, one of the port forwards fails, and you got to go find that one to run it again.
Yes. Always leave it running, right? Like you have that shell, and then yeah, it's annoying.
Yep. So if you go down to UI and do the port forward trick again, we can set that up on a port and see that.
So on the node port or inside?
Either one. Actually, it's one's going to kind of do the other.
Yep.
It'll just pick a random one for you.
Shift F, yeah.
So that middle number is the one you would change if you wanted to change it, but you don't. So localhost 80 should just work.
Yeah.
A little bit easier, right?
Magical.
If only there was a tool that would go ahead and port forward all services that it saw for you. That'd be nice.
There is. Project Tie.
For the tie.
Well, but that's
that's
not using Kubernetes though.
Yeah, it's old school.
No, it's the new hotness.
New hotness.
See?
You really should look into it. It's pretty cool. It basically it fires up all your services that you have in your Docker Compose, and then it also in your Tie YAML. They're very close though, similar. And then it also creates a management portal for you where you can go in and you can see the status. Yes, that services thing. You can see the status and you can click and the link and it'll take you to the service.
Is it running Docker in the background, or is it doing something?
It runs Docker. It runs instanced Docker, so that as soon as you like hit the stop button on Visual Studio, it'll basically kill, or it doesn't run from Visual Studio, but when you Control D the service, it will kill and delete those containers.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, this was an experiment by the .NET team last year. I think they put it on hold. I haven't seen much update, but there is a Tie deploy that'll deploy it, and
they mentioned it at build, but it's still experiment.
Yeah.
So this looks like analogous to Scaffold. The Scaffold is all the same things, like you can do
that's my understanding.
Yes.
From the brief introduction I've had in the last 30 seconds to Scaffold, that's my understanding.
And I'll do the build, it'll do the deploy, it'll tear down stuff when you stop it. It doesn't have the integration with the ID, so
you can tie watch though, so it'll do the automatic
build
update
redeploy thingy. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we were.
Oh yeah. A couple other things in K9s. So we port forwarded and that worked. That was great. L for logs is a nice one.
Oh yeah.
So that's weird. We don't see anything because we're not getting a lot of traffic, and it's tailing by default. But if you go in there again and look at the see how it's got auto scroll on and full screen off. There's another one. Yeah, it's 0. Yeah. And now you can go back in history. Now check this out. Control S. What do you think that's going to do?
Save.
I mean, that seems like such a basic thing, but it's so not most of the time. Like, I write this to a file and keep a little copy look up the pod name. And
I like the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Now the Kubernetes plugin in VS Code, I think it does have a nice save.
Oh, really? Okay, that makes sense though.
Yep.
Yeah, because I can just copy and paste out of there too. So yeah, that's not a huge seller.
But nonetheless,
but it's so and you have to click It's not.
to click
It's not a
and-
command line CLI or command line GUI. It's
Forces helm
Yeah,
upon
you know what you should be doing, John? Is you should be running K9s in the terminal in VS Code.
right.
That's right. There we go.
Yeah, it's a little wonky. Some of the refreshing stuff has been kind of weird, so I actually tend to run it outside. I also want it bigger, but you can. I mean, it works. It's just not my preferred experience.
Or at
do it,
least run it in Git Bash or WSL2.
That's what I was wondering about.
You know, because then you might have Unicode.
That's right. Yeah, that would be nice. Oh man, how do we not have Unicode?
Clayton, I thought you said you were going to be quiet because it was a Kubernetes.
What about like
It's
the Windows
something
terminal,
about Joe
like
Zack,
the new one,
just-
Yes. Bring
like
it
the
on.
new Windows terminal?
Yeah,
PowerShell.
yeah. I mean, if this were Commander, it'd probably work.
God, man.
I do like Commander. I have no clue if it works there.
But now I don't remember.
You have to know where it is.
It's
I
in-
don't
it's in your
remember the
notepad.
path.
Is it in downloads?
I don't
Go
know.
to the yeah.
K9s.
You didn't put it in your path.
No.
You got to put it in the path.
Yeah.
Oh,
Broke everything.
You know Scoop? You all familiar with Scoop?
what? Stop it.
No,
That's
I don't know that
weird.
one.
Oh, it's chocolatey, but everything that it installs, it always installs to like a single, just a single folder. So it's great for single executables. It's not going to mess with your registry or do anything. So it's not as powerful as chocolatey, but it's nice for those, like, just give me an executable, download it, put it in the bin, and if I want to update it or remove it, it'll just do it.
This
Yeah,
looks,
that might be a lot of it better than chocolate. Chocolatey just annoys the heck out of me, and I don't know why.
You know, I'll tell you what annoys me with chocolatey. For some reason, some unknown reason, they changed the install command from cinst, C-I-N-S-T, to choco space install. Like, really? Why would you make it more complicated?
Yep.
And they don't keep up to date on their packages. But that's not really
See?
Chocolaty's fault.
Yeah, no
PowerShell
Unicode.
and no Unicode.
I said bash
File ticket.
and WSL. I don't like
there.
PowerShell. Never
It's
have.
very verbose.
It is.
Anyway,
The only thing I like about PowerShell is the color scheme.
That's nice.
Reminds me of QBasic.
There's a bunch of advanced stuff that you probably don't care too much about. You know what? If you do a D, that's one of my favorite things to do here. That will describe, so I'll show you the YAML, and this is a short one. But if you type / you can filter, which is nice for those long
yeah.
YAML
Wow,
files. Or it'll take you to it as if it were.
yeah, but I can just go here.
That's true. But you know what you can't do here?
Yeah, see how quickly it
Use the
loads
command
for you?
line.
Apparently, a lot of it.
Well, how do you edit a file?
I
Do Cube Control Edit?
I haven't learned this tool enough yet.
Cube Control
I-
Edit or the letter E in K9s.
This is much faster, John.
Shut up.
But this dashboard, K9s doesn't love thousands of pods. Like, it'll do it, but it'll let you know about it. This dashboard doesn't love thousands. Nobody loves thousands of pods.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the result of. I wonder if there's a Kubernetes dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, there's a Kubernetes dashboard. I'm not sure it buys me a whole lot, but there is one.
Good. That's what GCP looks like. And that's pretty much it. Try edit E.
Yep.
It takes a minute. It's still working, but it's going to pop up your default editor here. It's probably Notepad, and you can just make a change and save it. And if it's an invalid change, it won't write it.
It's not doing it.
Pop open VI.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not.
See, why doesn't it?
Do you
just
have a
open
do you have
in
a
VI?
prompt that you're ignoring on some other screen?
Oh, I guess maybe if it was in like if we were running this in WSL, it probably would open it in VI or something.
Yeah, I'd open it in Vim.
Vim.
Dang, well, this was supposed to open it in Notepad. That's what it does for me. So I don't know. I'll have to write a ticket for it. But normally you would just Notepad it and save it. That's a bummer. What's up with source? We can go fix it right now. I feel like there was one other cool thing. I mean, there's lots of cool things. There's a kubectl config file. We can change
Well, now
things
how do I
like the
get
poll
back?
times. Control C should cancel it, I think. Oh, I didn't show you how to shell into something.
Yeah, that would be also really cool.
Yeah, so if you go into a pod, I don't know if you can do it from a service.
Let's do
Like, drill
API.
in.
Probably pods, and then do your API pod.
Now, frequently, I'll have one of these open per environment that I'm working in. I changed the color, like I mentioned earlier. S will
S.
do.
Well, hot damn.
Now, it does show A for
Family
attach.
show.
Attach does not do what you might think it would do. S for shell. Don't even remember the other letter I just mentioned, because you probably don't want it. What the other one does is it'll try to attach to the running process that was specified as the entry point or command in the container, which why would you ever do that? I don't know. But anyway, it starts with A, so it's always at the top of the list here. And a lot of people that I show this to, the first thing they do is they hit attach, and they're like, how do I shell in? It's not working. So yeah, there you go, S. A little better than K exec, kubectl exec, blah, 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 dash, dash, bash.
Oh,
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I was just seeing if I could edit the thing, but
No, if it doesn't have VI, it's not gonna have
there's
Vim.
there's nothing in
I
that's
swear,
right.
this is my life, man. I do
Emacs?
this several times a day. I bet you got nothing. Are you on Ubuntu or what's it called?
Kind of like echo, and then you have like
Dude.
echo it into the
Do
file.
ver.
Yeah.
VER. What's your ver?
VER?
Yeah.
Oh,
Version?
of what?
Not like the operating system. What are you running?
I don't know how to tell.
Uname?
I don't even remember.
And a lot of them you can do like version or something like that. But you gotta have you have to have
Here's my
VI or Vim or
Docker
Emacs
file.
or Nano or something.
Buster Slim, which I think is
Alpine, I believe, but
is what?
is it an Alpine version?
It's not. No, it's
Okay.
it's an Ubuntu Slim version, I believe.
Yes, you can do
maybe
the
they-
apt-get install if you wanted, but you do have to do apt-get update first, which is something I failed to do in Google. Luckily, I just Googled for that like a few hours ago, so it's still fresh in memory.
Debian. Sorry, yeah,
Have to get
Debian.
install Vim.
Nano. That's what I want. I don't
No,
want
no,
this. I want Nano.
Vim's fine.
No,
You're good with Vim.
no, I'm not.
He'll never
I'll
be able to
I'll
close
never
it.
get out.
It's escape:*Q. Bang if you really mean it. And WQ if you want to write.
Sudo.
You're already root.
I don't care. Now I'm really.
No, you're not.
There we go. See?
I don't like Nano.
See? And I can't get out of here either.
Now you did it. No, don't write the buffer.
Why couldn't you just Vim like a normal person?
So what do you guys think about K9s?
I love it. I will be using it tomorrow.
Yes. And you got like it's awkward at first if you remember that Control A to see all the aliases. There's definitely other stuff in there. There's almost like a built-in monitoring tool. It's like kind of Grafana super light. They'll show you like memory usage and CPU usage. I forget what it's
Yes,
called.
can we
though.
see that?
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to ask you about Grafana because I love me some Grafana.
Heck yeah, man. So if you do Control A for aliases, it is called.
Oh, you have to use Snap to get into.
Command line
Ubuntu?
Grafana.
Pulses. There you go. Take a minute to kind of catch up.
It's,
No, no,
it's,
I want real Grafana.
it's only showing one character because all the other ones are.
All Unicode. That's unfortunate. So there should be a way to see like the memory and stuff. This is not very exciting. Maybe I think it's still coming up. Yeah, this is not exactly a beautiful UI, but hey, it's command.
Well, you got
CLI.
deployments, replicasts, stateful sets, daemon sets, pods, events, jobs. So what are you after?
I was hoping to see a memory usage and CPU, which I know it will show. I just don't know how to get there. What does tab do, or back tab, or enter? Okay. Oh, it just drills.
I did something.
Yeah, not very exciting.
Control C. Go back.
Oh, were you able to actually like click in here and? Oh, that's cool. I thought you always had to type it. Jobs, persistent volumes. Oh, secrets are nice. So if you work with Kubernetes secrets, it's kind of it's funny. Kubernetes will base64 encode them, but if you have access to see the secrets, it's not. But it's kind of like it feels funny because you're like, oh, it's a secret. Oh, look how secret it is. It's encrypted, but it's just x64 encoded. But you can hit X to decrypt to de-encode that. That's a whole can of worms. Like it's not really secret unless you lock it down, which is not by default.
Nice.
So, Control L will roll back. You probably don't want to do that here, but
Do it.
it's interesting.
I'm looking at the YAML.
Hey, YAML. Yeah.
So when I'm sad is I'm finding it difficult to install it on Ubuntu in WSL.
Yeah. Okay. So I can help with that. If you notice on the webpage, I think they don't mention Snap or apt-get.
Yes, you can install it with Snap, but I feel like Snap never works in WSL.
Snap never works anywhere.
Okay, perfect.
No, I'm kidding. I hear I say that often, and I get told I'm wrong often.
I've never had it work. I've never
What's that
used
tell
it.
ya?
So I am only an apt get. I mean, I
Do you
guess
need to install a separate repository maybe to install it in apt-get?
No, it just isn't available.
Jerks.
Which is really weird. Yeah, I spent like an hour or two. Like I tried to show Outlaw, and Outlaw's a very particular fellow, and we spent the entire time. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to see. We spent the entire time researching why it wasn't on apt-get, and we never did figure it out.
Hey, look, there are icons in that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look how cool it is.
Yeah.
Unicode.
Get bash.
Not on
WSL2.
Windows, apparently.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get on WSL. So
Use get bash.
You still have to download it. Unfortunately, you can't.
So I just have to like do a curl and then pull it in.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
sorry.
curl it.
I don't know why they have like every other kind of Linux. Like you can probably get on your Raspberry Pi with
Yeah, how do you not cover Ubuntu? Like it's
Yeah. Look, K9s works perfectly. I mean, there's some problems with Windows and Ubuntu, but aside from that, it's probably
Aside
great.
from the two largest appers.
It's probably great on Mac.
yeah, it works fine on Mac.
Yeah.
You know, that way you can deploy all your Xcode to Kubernetes
Yeah.
because it'll run
Well, you
there
know,
for sure.
Watch out for those M1s. We don't really know yet. So yeah, I mean, I love it. I'm happy to help anyone with it anytime, just because I can't shut up about it. I would love to show you guys Scaffold too if you have the mental acumen for it.
Well, I don't
Not
know about
totally
that, but John's willing to
wasted.
try anything once.
I'll try anything 2 or 3 times.
All right.
Let's do it.
I am going to try to connect up to some Azure instances and run through this because I think
Heck yeah.
that would. I don't have any offhand, but yeah. Let's scaffold some stuff.
All right. So you've already got it downloaded.
It's running here-ish.
It just so happens I did a presentation on Scaffold like 2 weeks ago, so I still remember a few things. And I kind of live coded it. But the gist is by default, it wants a file called scaffold.yaml, spelled with a K. So if you just create that, there are other ways to do it. You can actually do scaffold init, and if you're feeling adventurous, we could try this. It will actually take a Docker Compose file and generate the architecture file for you.
Let's do it.
That is definitely the way to go.
All right, I've never done this. I don't think you need the second scaffold there.
Scaffold.
So you need to give it a Docker file or a jib configuration.
I'm wondering if downloads is the right place for you to be running this from.
Do it.
What?
You probably will want to zip to your directory because it's going to create the file there.
Yeah.
So wherever your project is.
Probably you want to put that scaffolds in a folder and then add it to your path, right? Like, and then go into your, and then actually
just
go
add
into
downloads to your path.
that too, because there's definitely no issues there.
We'll just put it in the root there, and then we'll go to.
If you're working with scaffold, you're going to type it quite a bit.
Okay.
All right.
There's a Docker compose file in this directory and a K8s YAML.
I might just find it.
Please
Okay.
rename that executable.
Nope. I think I thought I hit something. I hit it. It's not doing anything.
No.
Do you need to restart this terminal since you updated your path?
It's initting. Give it a minute.
Okay,
It's doing stuff.
it's fair.
Obs.
Never run this before. So this will be very interesting.
5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Sorry, we could not find your Docker file.
You might just be done. Like it might set up your whole CI/CD pipeline. It'll create your unit test for you.
I mean, if it write the app. I mean,
Yeah, it'll write the documentation too.
I can get behind an app like that.
Yeah, it'll be responsive.
It looks like
It'll
you're
be
trying to write a
responsive.
speaker meet application. Would you like some help?
Wait, is this Clippy?
But this is so I can confirm this is not working right now. It should pop down a thing that says like, "Hey, what kind of init you want to do?"
Because you typed
Just try to
.exe.
just try to run that and see what we get. Okay,
All right.
so that worked.
Oh,
It's in alpha.
Yeah, it's Google Alpha.
Does not work from command line.
Wait, this is Google, so it's not going to be supported next week?
Basically,
Zing.
it's not supported now. What are you talking about?
They do kind of hide it. If you're looking for the source code, it's buried under like Google Container Tools.
Build?
Do,
You want to build?
do-
Test?
Do init and then -- help and see if that does anything. Hey. Uh-huh.
Ooh. If you do -- analyze equals true, it should print all discoverable Docker files and images.
Oh, see, it went to the next line.
Equals true.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
It
it's
did it
seeing
anyway.
stuff. You can pass -- compose - file to set a Docker compose file. Might be the easiest way.
Assuming you've got one of those. Do you have a compose file?
Yeah.
Hey. Do it. Starting command compose.
Okay, so it's got a dependency on something else. Okay, so I do not recommend installing. Well, I don't know. I mean,
Do
it'll
it.
probably be fine. Down the rabbit hole. Either way, it's surprisingly easy to set it up though. So I think we should just type by hand. If you're interested in
far.
time, if you're interested in discovering compose,
So
then
far.
that's fun too.
So far, it's simple.
Yeah. Well, if you pop open a notepad, we'll create a new file called scaffold.yaml. And there's 2 lines of boilerplate, and then we're into the meat.
Oh, well, you're in command line. I was going to say touch scaffold.yaml, but you're in the command line. You could cat arrow scaffold.yaml. No, just an arrow, not a fat arrow. Just the greater than. And then that should what?
Oh, you're not in PowerShell.
Yeah.
No, that's a command line command.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
in command? Well,
Yeah. It's it just like if you just obviously not on John's machine, but used to could. You could type cat and then like hello world, and it would append that to like the output.
Oh, compose. So compose
Why?
just is like takes your Docker compose file and converts it to a Kubernetes YAML.
okay. So yeah, it might be a faster way to go.
Oh, cat did work because the file is there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Well, then what's
That's
it
funny.
griping about?
I don't know.
Doesn't understand cat.
See, it's right there.
Well, there
Alright.
there you go.
But, yeah, there.
And
what do
now you can
now what do you want me to do?
VI it.
You can't VI it.
What do you want me to do?
Oh, do edit.
Yeah, edit that thing.
Seriously, do edit and then that file,
The file.
not without the scaffold. He probably doesn't have edit. I don't think they have edit anymore.
Oh, Loca says in Windows it is type, TYPE.
Ooh. Dang it.
What do you want me to do?
Just Notepad plus
Just open it up with Docker or VS Code or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look,
All
it
right.
was right there.
So there's hey, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I could.
Why don't
if
you
want.
type it?
All right.
I'm taking the night off.
Let's see here. Let me figure out where they're. Okay, check this out. So, that's my favorite thing to have in this file. Just a link to the documentation. And now we're.
How do I?
What?
Oh, you cut out. Sick.
Me?
Yep.
Yeah, you.
Oh. Am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Oh.
No, can't hear you.
I was gonna say, this is like the boilerplate that just has to go in every scaffold file, and it's in line with the kind of stuff that they do in Kubernetes. So that's just like, that's the only game in town basically. And this too, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really like having stuff that doesn't change anything.
Yeah. How many other kinds are there?
Nothing in scaffold. It's always the docs literally say always config. And
For
here, yeah, for now, that's true. There's a couple like main activities.
And until they kill it next week.
Yeah. And so build is where you build. You can set up your Docker files and deploy. Tells you how to deploy to Kubernetes, and it'll work locally. And you can also hook it up to external and have all sorts of build scripts and hooks and all sorts of fun CI/CD stuff. But build supports multiple different kinds of builders, one of which is Docker, and I know you've got that. I think it supports Podman, and you can do custom scripts too. Artifacts is what you build. And then we're building containers. So this would be the name of your image. So when you do a Docker build, what do you tag it as?
It depends on which one we're in. That file is in the API project, and it is. Where is that? Image underscore label is just what we have right now.
Okay, image underscore label. So what? I think I can look at the Docker Compose file. I just realized that you guys aren't seeing my screen. You're just seeing.
Yeah, just the VS
seeing
Code.
there. Where is that Docker Compose file?
John, are you following Jozak? You can pin Jozak.
Well, the problem is that he's in the VS Code live share,
Okay.
which is the UI project. That file that he's editing right now is in the UI or is in the API project. So I guess we could switch over to the UI one.
Why don't you just
Hold on.
open up
About
the super folder in VS Code?
This would have to exist in the super proj.
Because like you can open up the solution folder in VS Code because it doesn't care about your project. And then no matter what he's editing, we could follow it.
They're in completely different.
Just open up C drive.
I'll tell you what. How about I just show you what we can do in the API project?
Yeah.
Since I figured that's probably a dependency, so I'm just gonna exit out of there. And I saved it. Yes. So that was UI. And here's the other one. All right. So over here, I was going to create scaffold.yaml. Oh, no cat. I guess I could do probably stuff in the terminal. I don't really know. But are you able to see my stuff?
Which are you in VS? In which live share are you in?
I am in Speaker Meet.
API or UI?
Yes.
Oh, maybe I have both of them open. I have the same project open twice.
That's fine.
That's funny. All right, so I think that I don't have the live share link correctly.
No, you're good. I think maybe.
I intended to be an API project, and I don't think I have that one.
Okay, let's swap over to the UI one.
All right, you want to paste me a link or something?
You were there. You were in the right one.
Oh.
But the file wasn't. So let's create
okay.
a file here.
Cool deal.
John's showing off those mad file creation skills.
Yep.
All right, there we go. Now I think it might have to be YAML, like with an A. You can name it whatever you want, but you're gonna have to type the file name, which is just awful. So, well, we have a Docker file here. I put the context here, which it's basically just your Docker context. So you Docker build dot, and then you don't have to specify anything else. The name, just been calling this API, right?
This is the UI.
This is the UI. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is the UI. So there you go. So this will do your Docker build for you. So now if you type in the terminal scaffold build, it should build that for you.
So now I need to move scaffold over to the UI.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No. This is yep.
Just use the terminal in VS Code, or not.
Things are all over the place.
Scaffold, and now what? Build.
Yep.
Just build.
Yep.
Build.
If I did that right, it's gonna build.
Dirty.
Yeah, so it doesn't recognize it as having built yet. I don't know yet why.
The building
it's going to tag it. And the building's not found. Oh, probably because the name. I was thinking like, yeah, you had built this before, like you said, like last night or something. So I kind of expected it to find that cache, but maybe because the different name. You see that tag? It's giving it DCE-30.
Mm-hmm.
So that is it's going to tag that for you, which is nice, and you want that in Kubernetes, but it stinks to keep track of that. So we're going to make it so we don't ever have to worry about that. And assume that'll take a minute. So if you want to go back to the file, I can show you how to actually deploy it to Kubernetes now. Are we in the same file? I'm so lost.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so deploy. And deploy, there's several options. There's straight up Kubernetes files. Helm's popular choice, customize as well. I am total noob, but customize, I like spent an hour with it. I mostly do Helm, so this will be a little weird, but I believe it's kubectl and then manifests. And manifest is an array of locations that can be, you can type just K8s.yaml, a file I see there. You can also do like star.yaml or something like that. What's in K8s YAML anyway? Oh,
I
cool.
think
It's
that
everything.
was just everything. Yeah, it's just
Awesome.
it's not customized or anything. It's just straight coop or K8s.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. So that's really easy.
Yeah, and actually, when we build the UI, oh, excuse me, it also is tagged as image underscore label, which is maybe why it didn't find it.
Yep. And now that I do so much stuff with Helm that I kind of forget about the other stuff, which is a problem with using those tools. But this would be a name that I think would be more appropriate as speaker meet dash UI. So I'm actually going to change that there.
In the K8s YAML.
Yep.
Okay.
And also, if we look over here, if we go
do we
down,
tag it here? Do we?
So, I probably shouldn't have mentioned that about the image and the tag name because I was thinking Helm style.
Okay.
So Helm is kind of a bigger issue because Helm needs to know whether it needs to update or not, and kubectl is going to be a little bit more simple. So all we have to do is just make sure that our image name lines up with what's in this file already for the deployment.
Okay.
So here we go. Yep. Just like I said, image ACR underscore URL / speak meet. And then colon, your label is image underscore label, just like you said. So I'm going to pop that in up top.
Yeah, we're going to follow.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting that you don't automatically.
No problem. We're
So I just
following.
pasted that there.
We should be following you now.
So now if you were to do a scaffold build, and I wouldn't do it yet, it would,
I'm going to
build it.
kill this one then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll shortcut it. So now if you do scaffold deploy, scaffold run, it will build if it needs to, and then it will deploy.
Nope.
Out of curiosity,
man.
is there by chance a scaffold extension for VS Code?
No, there's not.
You should make one.
Not yet. Yeah. There's not that many commands for it. So what did I do wrong here?
Use taggers instead. No tag
there,
should
must
be
say.
specified.
Is it really just is that an invalid image name? It's not possible.
Yeah, that seems to be what it's saying, and then you need to provide the tag separately from the image.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Run scaffold from the Visual Studio command line, and then you don't have to keep bouncing it back and forth.
Don't tell me what to do.
Fine, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. All right, I think that what we're going to do here, just for the sake of sanity, is remove that colon image label.
Okay.
And scaffold's going to provide one for us, which will be awkward.
And actually, I don't think I care. The only reason we needed it for the API is because I don't remember. So maybe we don't care.
Yeah, so I think I'll go ahead and just. Or there you go.
I beat you.
Yep,
I mean, not.
I feel beaten.
Oh, it's much faster in here.
See,
All
told
right.
you.
Yeah, had that cache from last night. And was that a scaffold build?
That was a run.
Okay.
So it is
So
building because it needs to.
So if you go look at K9s now, it either put up a new deployment, new pod, or it saw that it was already up there and left it alone.
It's still building, isn't it? 6 of 10.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, so nothing's happened yet. I'm not sure what's going to happen yet.
How do I get out of here?
Still says 17 pods, so it hadn't done anything with the pods yet.
How do I get like home?
You
Escape. Colon, and then what do you think home is?
Home.
Probably pods is.
Oh,
row.
You know, isn't that crazy? So that was definitely a cow, right? It even said cow Why isn't it a dog?
That's fair.
Because there's no
Yeah.
because there's
Totally.
no dog thing for Unix.
Yeah.
And because they're cattle. They're for
it's-
slaughter. You don't want to kill
yeah.
a dog.
It's cow say,
Well,
not
that's
dog
true.
say.
That's true. I mean, it's K9s. They missed. There was a
And it does say
branding
it
opportunity
does say
here.
Rutro.
That's true. Kind of
Wait.
Scooby-ish.
They need a dog say.
Hey, look! Oh, terminating.
Yeah, why did it terminate? Oh, so it looks like we got two. I think it actually worked. I think it terminated the old ones. Because if you look at the times now, 24 seconds, 26 seconds. So that's a little bit easier than that notepad you had with all the kubectl apply, right? Just scaffold run.
So it saw.
And they're still running on 80.
So it
I
saw.
like it. Cool.
It saw the existing ones that he ran manually, and it was just like, you don't need those anymore.
Yep, but it did replace the pods. And I don't know why. I don't know if something else changed. Oh, the build. The build would have been enough to so it would have known that it needs to actually deploy the new images out there. So it didn't create a duplicate deploy, it didn't create a duplicate replica set. It just set up the pods with the newest code.
Yep.
Okay. And you said this can do a watch, so he could like modify the React and whatever, and then it'll go ahead and refresh.
Yep, and so I didn't do that here, so we just did scaffold run. But if you do scaffold dev, there's one other thing I would recommend with dev. If you do --port--forward, it doesn't do it by default.
Well, so it seemed to do it. Was that just because we had set that up? We'd set that up on the service, so that because it didn't replace the service, it probably was doing it already, and that's why it continued to do it, because it just replaced those pods, and the service was still there. But let's.
I'm guessing,
so
I'm
that's
guessing
interesting. I
dev
would
is
be
going to be
curious about
a different thing.
It'll be the same tag and stuff. I don't expect it to actually deploy anything new, but it will attach to it'll basically show the logs from Kubernetes. It'll kind of like stream them, so it'll take over your window, and it'll set up port forwarding on any services that it knows about.
Okay, so it should
hit
still
enter here.
It should still overwrite those same ones that just got overwritten.
So I don't think so. I think it's
not,
going to
yeah.
see that it doesn't need to build the image again, and I think it's just going to.
But I'm saying like when he changes something and it redoes them, it's not going to create its own like dev version of things.
5 seconds. 3
Yep, you got it.
So it did.
Oh, it did. It did try.
overwrite the
It kicked
pods.
them,
Yep.
but that's okay.
That's interesting. It's kicked the database though. I didn't expect that. Hopefully there was nothing crazy in there.
It kicked the database.
I didn't see it. Oh, we refiltered maybe. I hope.
Yeah, I
Okay.
went out and back in, and
Oh yeah, that's just the deployment screen. Okay, cool.
the deployment. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, 26
All right,
hours.
good.
Redis.
Yeah, those all have been running. The only thing.
So if you look at the output of scaffold, it should tell you what port attached to. What it's going to do is it's going to try and attach to the port that's in the service. If it can't, it'll increment by 1. So if you had 80 already attached to something, it would go 81, 82, 83, so on.
Yeah.
But now
port
instead
80.
of you having to go into K9s and shift F and then enter, you just scaffold run dev. So every day if you check this file in, you want to get to work, scaffold dev -- port forward. There you go, you're port forwarded, you're running in Kubernetes. And when you want to stop it, now in this case, scaffold didn't originate some of these, so I don't know if it will shut down and delete everything explicitly. And if you did, if it was a scaffold dev in just a net new environment, okay, it would do everything.
Yeah, but it left the database and
because those are in a
Redis.
different K8s and everything. So now the UIs are gone.
right.
UIs are
So
gone.
back.
so that's a different Kubernetes cluster or whatever because for the API, the DB, and Redis. So
Somebody
if
else
he
set
goes
it up.
if he goes and scaffolds the API, then it would presumably wipe out the DB and reinitialize it.
Yep.
So if he doesn't, how do you do? So here's the question: how do you do initialization scripts for, like, say, a database? Like it's your test database or whatever, or when you run in dev, you want to run these SQL scripts as part of creating the database service.
So I would normally do that with what they call it a init container, which would basically be a process that will run before the service is marked, or in this case a stateful set is marked as ready. So you can kind of intercept and basically say, okay, once the server is up, I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to go check and see if the data exists. If not, I'll run this arbitrary command or these other things, and then I'll get out of here. So we do that with like Roundhouse, for example. So we version the database and stuff, and every time that database is deployed, it'll go out and say, hey, do I have anything to do? Yes, no, do it or don't. And then now I'm marked the database is available. Oh, so we're watching, right?
No, I reran them so I could get them back.
Okay, so I was going to show you. So if you do the watch again, or the dev
port forward.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll show you the watching and why that's kind of cool. So you can go and change your UI code. So like if you change like one of those files, it'll pick it up.
8081, by the way.
Oh, 81. That's funny. So it.
Yeah, I don't know. Something was still holding 80.
It's hanging on. I wonder what that is.
Yeah. Anyways.
Jerk. Now it's 80.
There you go. So if you modify any of those files in the UI project, we should see, and down in the bottom, it should start kicking off another build of your images, or of your image. Yeah, if any image that's changed.
Yeah, change some random text or something.
Yeah, so React site that takes a minute to start, not so fantastic, but it'll try to do its best as far as caching goes.
Oh, and I put that in Helmet when it's up there in the thing. You won't see it.
Good times.
Yeah.
Let's put that somewhere else. And I'll do it again.
You could literally just throw some text in somewhere.
I know, but I haven't looked at this site in a while.
But it's your baby, just right there in
Looks
Maine.
nice.
Don't just
Just H1.
But
I do like React. I spent some time. I was like, this is the one I'm going to learn. And I went and spent a bunch of time with it. And then my company got acquired. And they're like, Angular is the one you're going to learn.
Oh,
Okay.
Blazor way better.
Yeah, I've done .NET in like 2 years. So
Pick up some Blazor. You'll be like, why was I doing this? This React
Yeah.
and Angular stuff. The only problem Blazor has right now is that it doesn't have the automatic refresh. Whenever you change something, you have to basically like shut it down and restart it. You can do a watch from the command line, and that will work, but it does like a page refresh. It's not a hot swap.
okay, I'm fine with that. Especially loading DLLs. Like, who knows what they're doing, right? So it's kind of like React's nice because it's got so componentized. It's like the whole model is built around that kind of the notion of like you being able to refresh part of it and it knowing which parts to refresh. Well, Blazor, like, I don't know, I could like find some old DLLs off my one of my old computers and just here you go.
I mean, like, you can. Hey, we need you to create this Excel spreadsheet and output that for all the users. Done.
Yeah, that's
Like
insane.
all you got to do is pull in whatever NuGet package and done.
That's all my users want anyway.
I mean, most of us are doing line of business applications, so it's all like, yeah, I've got this table and it's got these things in it, and you click edit on one of them, and then you go and change some stuff, or maybe display some graphs, like all of that stuff, and any kind of interaction that you need. There's generally a NuGet package that can already do it in .NET. So
Yeah, hard to argue with already done, and done way better than I would do, by the way. Way better if I were to custom code something like that. So it's still doing the build down there.
yeah, I changed a second file, so it's doing a second build.
Yeah.
couldn't help yourself.
Yep.
Hey, there we go.
When are we gonna learn about Azure Search?
Dude,
I need to follow up, so we'll try to get.
you know who loves Azure Search? Has two thumbs. Actually, I haven't used it in a couple of years now though.
Yeah.
Well,
So right now we're using an outdated or a deprecated. So there we go. Hooray!
Hooray!
New version's pretty old too. It's like it's not elastic. Wink, wink. It's elastic.
Where's it?
Yeah, we're using whatever it was when they first came out with it.
Yeah, these two packages are deprecated. And they don't have a replacement. It's like there's a new way to do it. I'm like,
not like that.
Like
but what I have
stuff you're doing is probably the query string, right? You're probably not doing too many crazy.
no,
I don't even know if
it's
you
not
can
crazy.
do.
Let's see.
It's doing the filtering based on 3 or 4 different fields or whatever based on your search
like
criteria.
faceting or whatever.
Fuzzy search and stuff. I think
Yeah.
fuzzy
Yeah,
search.
okay.
Fuzzy search
This
was
is-
the one that
yeah.
you want to know, right?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty confident that it runs Lucene under the hood. I don't know if it runs like Elasticsearch, which also runs Lucene under the hood.
Yeah, but by default, the search is Lucene, but you can change it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so definitely don't have this guy on to talk about Azure Search. But I am a fan. I used it quite a bit for a while.
I thought it was cool when John showed it to me, like 4 years ago, and then I haven't looked at it since.
Yeah,
It's
see,
easy. It's great.
see, look, all kinds of spelled wrong, and still
man.
found me.
And so
And
fast.
Sean because it sounds like John.
It's amazing. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's part of the contextual kind of. Man, Microsoft got the smarts. That's nice.
Okay, so that worked.
Oh yeah, so I was going to show you. So you got it looked like two replicas on the UI. So if you go change that in the YAML to I don't know like 5 or something, then so Scaffold not only watches the files for the containers it builds, but also watches all the Kubernetes files. So if you change any sort of Kubernetes stuff, then it'll get that too.
It opened the file.
There we go. So yeah, that's what should have happened earlier. I don't know what went wrong. But yeah, so somewhere in here. So this is the service. We actually want to go to the deployment to scale it.
So I go
Is
here.
:deploy. Yeah.
So does it? Is it? Oh, so it watches it in Kubernetes, but could you update that in the YAML file or the
Yeah.
customize?
So I would actually not do it here because this will definitely scale it to 6, but we don't want to scale it this way. We want to see we want to change our code in the editor or whatever, and see it happen there.
John's face. He was like, "I got this. I know what he's talking about." Well, we don't actually want to do that here.
No, I mean this is what's going to end up happening.
I mean,
So,
yeah,
that's
you
funny.
could have done it there, but that's just like another way. Yeah, here you go. Change it here. Now the question is it going to
Nope, too
recognize that? Is it going to recognize it doesn't need to rebuild?
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep.
And it's already up.
Yeah, not to shed. Now you got 6 UI pods, one of which is port forwarded.
One of them.
Yep.
Do we know
Divinich is
Yeah, it's the middle one there.
the
You can
one-
tell because it's got the
question
Unicode
mark?
character.
yeah.
And it's this one. Yeah, and for anybody following along at home, here is the GitHub repo for the UI and the GitHub repo for the API
So here's a question.
in chat.
So, being that this is a React front end and it takes bejesus long time to recompile and redeploy,
Like at least 2 seconds.
most of the time, our devs are just mounting node and then doing like a bind mount so that what's running inside of is just node running inside of the Docker container. How, or is that? Can we handle that here with Scaffold?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't think Scaffold specifically, like this tool, isn't going to buy you anything. I think that it was like that would be like Kubernetes would be what to do there, and I think the trick there would be to create a volume that your computer would know about. And I definitely don't know how to do that. I assume there would be some sort of storage class, which you might be able to go to with :storage class in Docker-desktop that would know how to do that. Crap, it's not that.
And then you could have Node watching the files.
Yeah, and then now where Scaffold could help you there is like you don't want to run like that in prod.
Right.
So
No. Absolutely.
You would set up like something with like customize there or a Helm or something. You would basically say, and Scaffold has optional profiles. So you can set up a profile for dev and a profile for prod, or you could handle a number of different ways. So basically, you would want to kind of alter which files you use for dev and which ones for prod in order to swap in. But if you do it like colon PV would probably be the easiest way to see the persistent volumes. If you have any here,
No,
this means if your database restarts, it's gone.
yeah, it's fine. There's only 3 records in the database.
Yep, and that's all good.
Not now.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do your timeout, basically you would create a volume that like mapped somehow to your local computer.
Gotcha.
And then you would attach that volume, mount it in Kubernetes, and you can modify there and then refresh.
Yeah, the database in the container is purely for deving.
Okay.
So yeah, the fact that the data goes away, I don't care. Cause,
Yeah, it's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah.
it's yeah.
I'm just wondering with like Scaffold, I guess if you would have to do maybe like just the Scaffold run as opposed to the Scaffold watching on the UI.
Yeah, I prefer Scaffold run. I actually don't use the watching.
Oh, okay, you don't use the watching. Okay.
So one thing about Scaffold Dev is it's all or nothing. So if one of your pods fails, or one of them can't do something, it's going to roll back everything.
And then when you close it
Sorry.
down, it'll actually delete all of them.
Yeah, and I don't want that. Like sometimes I want to be able to run stuff. Yeah, so I typically do run and like, hey, I'll come back to this 2 hours from now, or after lunch, and I want to pick up right back, or I don't want to worry about my console dying. Plus, when I run locally, like it's common for me to run like 15 service or whatever. I'm doing my like normal local dev kind of story. It takes a long time to spin all that up, and that's not Scaffold being slow. That's just Kubernetes being slow.
Yeah.
And Docker Compose was much faster, so I'll give it that.
Can you, you could compose your K8s files in a way though that like the DB would run but wasn't included in the things to be managed by Scaffold though, right?
Oh yeah, totally. And also, so we've got one Scaffold file now that's in one project, and it's mixed with stuff that isn't in Scaffold, and that works. Also, Scaffold has the notion of profiles. So you can set up an optional profile called like database only, for example, that subtracts everything except the database, or maybe it adds stuff, or maybe it changes the number of replicas, or it's really powerful. And it's funny, the profiles actually work at a YAML level. So you can actually do some like YAML-y, wizardy, replacing, looping, crazy stuff. And I know, Clayton, you just must love spending time in YAML. You can add variables. It's great.
It's not YAML that bothers me with like Kubernetes and stuff. It's the
12 files for Helm.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't mind doing work, and in fact I like impossible problems, which is why I have some of the hobbies that I have. But I don't like doing the extra work for no extra payoff.
Yeah.
And if I can write, I don't know what, like 20 lines of a Docker Compose and get exactly the same thing from writing 16 Kubernetes files,
Yep.
I'm gonna do the Docker Compose.
But where that breaks down for Docker Compose is you can't take Docker Compose and go drop that on a cluster somewhere. Docker Swarm a couple years ago, when it still looked promising, then there was a path there. But now ultimately Compose is a dead end.
He has a whole DevOps department.
Yeah. So what our DevOps does, because I've actually talked to our DevOps, Hudzy. I don't know if he's still on or not, but I've actually talked to our DevOps about Kubernetes, and they were like,
"It's not a team.
It is where I work."
He's there.
Yeah.
He's there.
State of mind, man.
So he said that they would rather not Kubernetes because right now they can take the Docker file or the Docker Compose and just drop it on Azure, and Azure goes, "Oh, I got this covered," and Azure can handle scaling and all the other stuff.
Why do they do that?
Because it's easy.
Why does Azure do that? Why do they make things so easy? They're so friendly with like backwards compatible stuff. It's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Now there are things that
I'll give you. It's a culture. It's not a title.
Unfortunately, it is a title. I'd say it's more of a title than it is a culture. Hey, talk to the corporate America. Don't talk to me.
Whichever one pays more, I'm in.
I mean, you do what you want to do, but you and I both know It's a sham.
Oh, you got all blurry. That's how we know you're lying.
What I like about Scaffold is that we use it for the build. So our build server actually runs Scaffold build, and we've got a couple configurations in there that'll kind of trim out some of the stuff that we only use for dev. And it literally builds our artifacts, which then we take and move on to another pipeline. And we could do a Scaffold deploy from there, but we have a convoluted Rube Goldberg thing that kind of goes on past us. But it's nice to have like one file that kind of like works for my local setup, my build server, and my publish basically. So I've been really happy with it. So I'm nuts about Scaffold.
Yeah, I mean, I like the tools that you've shown today. I really like what K9s does and what Scaffold does. But there's also the setup of Kubernetes that.
Oh yeah. The 8,000. How many lines of code? It's like an 8 million pound gorilla.
It's just it's excessive. There's a lot of things that you have. So there's a lot of knowledge you have to even build the most basic of systems, and there's a lot of fields that you have to fill out. And even after listening to Ash and John for hours, I still don't understand what they mean. So either I'm stupid. Okay, I'm stupid.
It sounds like it solves problems that you don't have.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
I think
the
that's
thing.
the biggest thing.
Maybe most people don't have.
That's the conclusion that we came to the other day. I don't know what day it was, but it was basically like
Every day.
For developer benefits, it's unlikely that I would be able to add more with Kubernetes than I've already added with Docker Compose.
Yeah, Kubernetes solves the
for
problem
deployment.
of deployment and hosting and management at scale. It doesn't solve a development problem.
Yep. And so one of the reasons why we're trying to bring it into development is because we are using it to solve our scaled deployment. It changes the context just so slightly. So there are certain the way that the services interact, the way the ingresses happen, all of those sort of things. Some of the interactions between the apps, the behavior is slightly different, and so being able to bring that down into the development would give the developers just that little extra bit of information. Whereas right now, the Docker Compose works really, really well for them, right? With the exception of there's a few times there's these edge cases where it works great on their machines, and then we still deploy it out to Kubernetes, and it's like fall on face.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're trying. So if I could come up with a way, and this scaffolding really looks the most promising that I've ever seen, to be able to solve that issue, to be able to have the developers use something that's as simple as Docker Compose and as easy and fluid as Docker Compose, because I've already set up all the Kubernetes stuff, so they don't have to handle that, and that is a huge headache to be able to handle and have to handle and understand all that sort of stuff. So if that's already been taken care of, which it is, because I'm already doing that for all of our deployments, right? I could add this, and then their interactions are just as simple as they were before, and they get all the same benefits. So that's really where I see. I think this is pretty cool, and the K9s is just. I thought the Kubernetes plugin for VS Code was sweet. This is definitely the best thing I've seen as far as like managing. It is so cool just being a GUI inside of a terminal for starters, and so you had me there. But it functionally it also is really cool.
Yeah.
It looked cool.
Honestly, just seeing the context and cluster and namespace I was in just on the screen, I was like, okay, that's like, if there's nothing else, I'm sold.
Yeah. And Hudsy said also, if you're doing multi-cloud K8s, it's useful. Are you doing multi-cloud?
No.
Joe, are you doing multi-cloud?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's that kind of guy.
Yep. I love me some Kubernetes. I drank the Kool-Aid, so I'm
But
biased.
you guys are like big data collection and assimilating stuff, right?
Yeah, and so I'm constantly dealing with thousands of pods. So I mean, I would have a hard time imagining doing it without Kubernetes. Luckily, I kind of like things just kind of happened at the same time. So we were building that stuff and it was coming at the same time. So yeah, it's fantastic. I'm always swapping between namespaces, and each one has thousands of pods, and they're all dynamic. And it's not even auto scaling. It's a lot of like kind of like Flink jobs, Spark jobs, like data processing type stuff that just gets really big.
Yeah, so Kubernetes absolutely solves your problem, but your problem isn't a development problem. It's a running at scale.
Yeah, and figuring out what's wrong at scale. Something's always wrong.
Well, don't write it wrong, and you won't have a problem.
Yeah, don't put bugs in.
Yeah, don't configure it wrong. Oh, I will say, so that reminds me, so John, what you mentioned there about the developers. So what I liked about, we were using Docker Compose before, we swapped it with Scaffold. And so it still gave them like a simple way that was familiar to the workflow. But by having them working on Kubernetes, which is what we were definitely running in production, and I don't see a good alternative for, it gets the developers that are farther away from the deployment in touch with Kubernetes concepts. So that when there is a production issue, they're not like, wait, what's the difference between a pod and a replica set or something? Because it's dealing with it daily, day to day, they kind of get past some of those little speed bumps. And so they know how to look at logs. They know what these concepts mean. So if I say, hey, your pods are dead, I don't have to bring up a dictionary.
What's a pod again?
Yeah, exactly.
And here's a question. Do you guys run multiple containers in one pod?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think so there's one place where I do it bad practice. Like I literally do a React app and the API server in one container. And I've had that as two containers. Sorry, rather in one pod.
One pod. Yeah.
And that is not the reason for doing multiple pods, but it's very convenient. I just got tired of like restarting both when I wanted to restart one. So that was literally just
the latency between those two. I mean, just tremendous throughput.
It's totally silly. But the reason we do stuff like that is like if you have something that like exports metrics or something, and you want to have like one container that like knows how to send certain kinds of logs or just some sort of filtering, or maybe you wants to do something with that, and that would be a good place to do it. I forget what else we do it for, but it's mainly things like that. And also there's the init containers thing I mentioned for like if you want to do something on startup where that's technically another container, but it kind of runs in order, so that doesn't stay up, it doesn't persist.
Yeah, like,
usually like some sort of metrics.
What we're doing here. So usually for the database to get up and running, that we have to wait to get the database stuff going before we actually fire stuff.
I see your password.
It's very similar. You know what? A funny thing to do. So sometimes if you've got a pod that keeps crashing and there's data on there that you need, something we might do sometimes is like go edit the deployment, add another container that just tails dev null and is attached to the same volume because they're sharing a computer. And then I can go and shell into the one that's not crashing every 2 seconds and then use it to access the data. But I never want to do that again.
All right, now let's talk about Grafana.
Yes.
In the Kubernetes world. Tell me it's just as simple as running Grafana pointing to Kubernetes. Like, do they spit out the time series data or anywhere, or
it's
like
it works well, but it's not as easy to set up as you would think. So cube state metrics is the kind of stuff that comes to mind. Like Ryan I mentioned earlier, he's the guy.
We're gonna bring Ryan on. Okay.
Yeah, you got to bring Ryan on. He'd be great, man. He works. He's got a treadmill desk, and so he'll be marching the whole time. You should definitely have him on for no other reason than just see him like blowing your mind while hustling. But so you have to hook up QScript metrics in order to get like things like memory usage and CPU and don't get me started on storage volume percentages, that sort of stuff hooked up. So it's not like a one-liner and have data showing up. It's a one-liner, like super easy to get it set up. There's an operator for it, which is like a whole nother subject, but it basically gives you a one-liner way to install it. And it'll set up Prometheus, Grafana, there you go, it's running, default password. There you go. Everything's amazing, and there's basically nothing to see in there. So you got to start poking your data in. And QSA metrics isn't that bad, but it's, you're going to spend some time with the tutorial.
Is there no data in it, or is it just you need to configure the dashboard?
So you need to configure stuff to either have it go out and fetch the data, or you've got to send it. And Prometheus, you can do either one just fine. But it's got this whole notion of like service monitors will go out and kind of like scrape endpoints to look for those metrics. And so you've got to set that up. And maybe there's some easy button I don't know about where it'll just do everything. But it means you do have to be publishing those metrics. And then to get the actual metrics from Kubernetes isn't trivial, because Kubernetes doesn't just like blast that stuff out in a format that I don't think it blasts it out at all, actually.
Yeah, because for an example app that I put together and did some talks on, I was using app metrics.
I saw that talk. It was excellent.
Yes. And plugging in the Grafana with that, it was just so dead simple, and I loved it, and it was great. I haven't seen much updates from this project in a while. I know that he scrapped a couple of the metrics that he's collecting here, just because .NET Core and .NET 5 give you a lot of it, so it's like there's no point. And so, but yeah, this was dead simple. I was hoping it would be that simple of like, yeah, Kubernetes just automatically exports or publishes or raises events for everything in a time series database. And then
I'm sure there's some sort of something you kind of run an operator, install it and set it up, and it'll get it by default. But it's not like it's not as simple as you would think it would be, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know App Insights, but if you're working on a project that is local or they don't like all the Microsoft stuff, I love App Insights, but I also love Grafana.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I remember I was like, hey, this is what we do with Grafana, but it only took you 2 clicks to get it. Oh. Yeah.
Clayton, what are you laughing about?
You looking at Twitch?
I am. Oh. Why is everybody purple?
Hey, that's awesome.
I was. You guys were talking about stuff that I don't understand, so I was fixing the green screen issues.
We've gone plaid.
Oh man, I look blurry. Makeup.
No, don't fix it.
They're fixed.
All right, what else do we need to know? Because we're going to lose Clayton if we talk about Kubernetes much more. But
I think that's everything.
We're past that.
So we're going to bring Ryan on.
Yes.
And talk more about dashboards and stuff.
Well, so he would probably not love talking about that, because some people will probably love it. But I know, so I'm sure he would talk to you about it, but he would also love to talk to you probably about streaming systems, Kafka, streaming analytics.
Yeah, actually, Alan's talk on that he gave, at least one of the times I saw it, was really good. That sentence was weird. I know that he's given a talk multiple times. I've seen it once, and the time I saw it was good.
Did it have donuts?
He did have donuts.
Yeah, donuts.
Time series or a streaming series of stuff and Kafka and just craziness. That was awesome.
That's the thing with Coding Blocks, is that we're inconsistent. Like Alan brings donuts to his talks, and I go to the wrong location and show up late. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's never know what you're gonna get.
Well, this was a lot of fun. This was cool. I like it. It sounds like Ash is putting it to work tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, man. I love it. You're like, something in Scaffold looks weird. I'm like, put me in. Zoom me up.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely. Yeah, I'll definitely be using K9s tomorrow and be looking into Scaffold for sure.
There's a link to K9s. Here's a link to Speaker Meet in case you're interested.
Did you guys see what Hudsy said? He said some words, but I don't understand them. So
here's the GitHub repo for the API again, and the GitHub repo for the UI again.
Oh man, so open telemetry. So I think we talked about this a little bit, John. Open telemetry is definitely something I'm very interested in. I've never looked at the .NET version of it, but like the Cloud Native Foundation, whatever Foundation, Linux Foundation, whoever they are, they've got a big project around this. So it's all about getting those metrics like tracing in a generic way that'll work in App Insights and Grafana and wherever else, Jaeger, whatever UI you want to use for that. Which is really great. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see Microsoft pushing in that direction because it seems like everyone is really aligning on open telemetry. So I'm super jazzed.
Yes. Yeah, I think I heard maybe a .NET Rocks something, or maybe a Coding Blocks. Did you guys talk about it?
I don't think so. Well, we talked about Jaeger a lot there for a while. We were all excited about Jaeger, and now Grafana kind of built it in.
I remember hearing Jaeger and Zipkin.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Hudson. Yeah. Definitely take a look at that. If anybody is interested in playing around with SpeakerMeet API or UI or Docker or Kubernetes or any of that fun stuff, we are looking for contributions and from the community. If anybody wants to just play with it for a personal project, there are plenty of examples of testing, unit testing, integration tests. We're utilizing a lot of the patterns and practices from our buddy Steve Smith, our Dallas. It's got the clean architecture based solution using the specification pattern library that he developed as well. So a lot of fun things to look at and play with and learn and grow and doing all the things. Happy to list contributors in the contributors thing here so we can tag you and get your face up there. Yeah, so I think we're winding down. If there's any more questions or anything else for this evening, or if Joe, if you've got any final words for us, any parting words of wisdom.
I'm just wondering how you guys are still sitting upright with all the drinking you had to do. Never said. Stuff with K9s.
I mean, I'm
sorry, I know I'm fanatical.
Right.
I ran out of milk pretty early on.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks for having me, for real. That was a blast.
Yeah, it was great. So with that, we didn't talk about the game jam, the January.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was great. We had 200 entries, 46 submitted projects. And I couldn't believe how good, really all of them. Like I went through, I played all the games, rated all of them. It was a lot of fun. I spent 4 days with Pygame and Python, which I didn't know very well. But now I'm like the second grader that's been there for too long, the 18-year-old second grader. But the game's been a lot of fun, so I'm still working on a video for it. Actually, I made a little card game, but it was a blast. I took 2 days off. I got clearance from the wife to just spend 4 days just go and at it.
Nice.
So it's great. We're gonna do it again probably next year, if not sooner.
I think 3 days is the most I could stay awake.
Oh yeah, man, that 4th day I was like, I don't care anymore. I don't care.
Ship it. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Yeah, with that, we will say goodnight, Joe. Really do appreciate you coming on and chatting with us and telling us about all of the great stuff in K9s and Kubernetes and what it can do for you. With that, we will be back on Monday for the live stream of the podcast at 6 p.m. Eastern. And let me double check. What is our... And 6 p.m. Eastern. And then the next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, the live coding live streaming. So with that, we will say goodnight and rate our friend over at Taylor & Code. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and do all of the fun stuff. And with that, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.